There's one more day of opportunity to do something right, something better. Something like better parenting techniques, perhaps. Well, that's if you're a parent. November opens up with the celebration of National Parent Month, as we recognize those who continue to do well while encouraging others to step up. Hi, I'm Theodore Henry with today's Jamaica Magazine. Today we're teaching some proper parenting techniques, engaging one extraordinary father, and of course, still saying COVID-19 safe. Welcome. Let's get right into things.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, November 11. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says his government intends to relocate communities in disaster-prone areas. The communities targeted are those which are perennially affected by flooding, blocked roads, and land slippages. Informal settlements on riverbanks, in the path of rivers, and low-lying communities will also be targeted. Mr. Holness says the relocation exercise will follow objective assessments of the need to move.
But the question that we will have to answer in this House, and the Cabinet will have to answer, should we seek to relocate those persons, or should we seek to rebuild in the same spot? Whether or not we have lands available for relocation, and whether or not the properties were in fact in a river course, floodplain, or a marginal area. So I'm just sounding the alarm, the warning now that we cannot have some of these communities continuing to exist in these areas in the face of the weather events that are projected to happen on a cyclical basis, because every 2 years you're going to have this crime.
Prime Minister Holness was speaking during Tuesday's sitting of the House of Representatives. The House was updated on government's relief efforts in light of heavy rains in recent weeks. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says a $2 billion infrastructure rehabilitation program announced recently will start shortly. Mr. Holness says assessments will be done and priority given to clearing blocked roads, cleaning drains, and patching roads. The exercise will help to mitigate further damage to the island's road infrastructure.
There is no doubt that many across the island are suffering from the inconveniences of various kinds of dislocations relating to damage to road infrastructure. I urge our people to be patient, as we cannot respond to all situations at the same time. We do not have, as you know, unlimited resources, and therefore we must be strategic in how we allocate and use our scarce resources.
Mr. Holness says 22 of the 23 roads impacted by the passage of Tropical Storm Zeta have been cleared. The National Works Agency has also cleared a majority of the 24 major roads impacted by the outer bands of what is now Hurricane Eta. The Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development says work has started to repair the $1.65 billion of damage done to parochial roads. Prime Minister Holness says 48 persons are currently in shelters across several parishes. The Jamaica Defence Forces Disaster Assistance Response Team has been deployed to Bull Bay, St. Andrew to help in recovery efforts. The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries has unveiled a $636.9 million emergency relief program for farmers. The allocation is aimed at assisting farmers who have been severely affected by recent flood rains. Losses are estimated at $2.5 billion, with St. Elizabeth, Manchester, St. Catherine, Clarendon, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas being most hard hit. In Parliament Tuesday, Portfolio Minister Floyd Green said the ministry would provide $616.6 million to the program. The remaining $30.3 million is being provided by private sector entities in the form of farm supplies. Government support will be seen through a $95 million chemicals program, a $215 million program for assorted seeds and other plant material, as well as a $30 million fertilizer program. In addition to deploying 2 tractors to the worst affected areas, the ministry will also be spending $211.6 million on rehabilitating farm roads and $40 million to repair catchments, greenhouses, and shade areas. $20 million in support will be given to livestock farmers, while beef farmers will receive $5 million. Minister Green says the program will be administered through the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, with direct support coming from members of Parliament.
We will provide $500,000 to 20 MPs who have been categorized as urban MPs. We will provide $1 million to 20 MPs who have been categorized as rural MPs. And we will provide $1.5 million each to 21 MPs in the hardest hit areas.
The Agriculture Minister also announced plans to start a $10 million backyard gardening program. He says 2,500 backyard gardening kits will be disbursed. The Ministry of Education has launched its Own Your Own Device incentive program. It's aimed at helping 36,000 needy secondary and primary students who are not on the Program of Advancement through Health and Education PATH access learning devices. Portfolio Minister Fable Williams says families who earn $25,000 or less monthly will receive a $20,000 voucher to purchase a tablet or laptop.
Parents or guardians can apply through an established website powered by eGov Jamaica or via a manual numbered application form available from their respective members of Parliament or the ministry's regional offices.
The application period runs from November 17 to December 4. Electronic applications can be retrieved from and uploaded to oyod.educate.gov.jm. Manual application forms from members of Parliament can be sent to the Ministry of Education to the attention of Own Your Own Device program at 2-4 National Hero Circle, Building 1, Kingston 4. Persons seeking more information on the program may call 888-OYOD now, that's 888-696-3669, or email oyod@moeyi.gov.jm. And finally, Member of Parliament for South St. Andrew, Mark Golding, was on Tuesday sworn in as Leader of the Opposition. He was presented with the instrument by Governor-General Sir Patrick Allen during a ceremony at King's House. Mr. Golding vowed to serve effectively and resolutely in his new capacity.
In Parliament, we must uphold our oath to defend the Constitution of Jamaica and always protect the interests of the Jamaican people. In carrying out this sacred duty, we will not oppose for its own sake, but always with the objective of strengthening good governance and accountability in the affairs of the nation.
Mr. Golding takes over from Dr. Peter Phillips, who announced his intention to resign as opposition leader in September. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
This Parent Month, we want to encourage good parenting practices. Now, the idea of what that looks like may vary, but the experts have some sound tips. Here's the National Parenting Support Commission.
Wouldn't it be great if children came into the world so well-adjusted or with manuals, therefore eliminating the need for parental discipline? This is not the case, however. Parents usually apply their methods or they depend on strategies taught throughout generations to guide their children.
8 in 10 Jamaican children in the 2 to 14 years age group experience violence as a form of discipline.
Coercive parenting involves the physical administration of pain as punishment. It also includes the use of harsh language that has the potential to hurt children's feelings and affect their general self-esteem and development. It also fosters aggression, because what you're really teaching children is that when there is an issue, we must resolve the issue through harshness, through aggression, through coarse language. There's a direct correlation between coercive parenting and the aggression that we see actually in society.
Damaging disciplinary practices have moved outside of the home and into the national consciousness.
The time has come for the Parliament to have a debate on this issue and finally declare corporal punishment at an end, both within public institutions and as a means of discipline available to parents. I think it would be a forward-leaning step in making a stance against violence generally, and it would send a powerful message about the state respecting the inviolability of the person, whether or not that person is a child or an adult.
Children need guidance, and many wonder if not with the rod, then how? Enter the National Parenting Support Commission, NPSC, an agency of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. The ministry established the commission in 2012 to provide parents with the requisite skills and tools to raise children.
We work at 3 tiers. We work at home, school, and community. Our first and most important priority, however, is to ensure that we're fostering the home-school relationship. We must ensure that parents as key stakeholders feel involved in the entire process of educating their children.
Now, to do this, the Commission assists parents in several ways, including providing psychosocial support, assisting parents with understanding the teaching-learning process, and conducting parenting education programs.
Through our effective parenting courses, we push proactive strategies. In other words, you are going to put structures in place before behaviors that you don't desire actually show.
Parents and guardians should consider the child's developmental stage when determining the best method of guidance.
A child who is very young, we encourage play. The child must be playing, and even the teaching learning processes must include play, because this is how they develop their imagination, their creative skills. This is how they also learn to resolve issues and to problem solve.
Young children, especially infants, are at the stage where they don't know right from wrong, and they can be impulsive. They may touch items that are valuable or dangerous. Usually, it is best to remove the child or the object from such a situation.
We don't believe you're to spank any at all, because that's a part of coercive parenting, and we don't believe that coercive parenting works. So what we encourage you to do, though, is to be firm and to be consistent. So if it means you have to say, do this instead, or do not go there a million times, then that's what you have to be prepared to do.
The teenage years can challenge both children and parents. With the physical and chemical changes happening in the body, teens may act out as they may be unsure of their place in the world.
This can be a very difficult time to navigate. So we ask that you start relaxing some of the very stringent rules, and you also have conversations and you compromise.
And to address challenges, caregivers can remove privileges.
If the child becomes stubborn, has a fixed mindset, if you will, that this is what he or she is going to continue to do, then you might need professional help. You might need to call the commission, or you might need to call a social worker or a guidance counselor to help.
Being a proactive parent means setting clear boundaries, letting children know what is acceptable behaviors and why rules are in place. And don't forget to model behaviors you want young ones to display. There may not be a one-size-fits-all for raising children. By assessing the right information and using effective parenting techniques, we can nurture adults willing to play their part in making Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. To tap into information from the National Parenting Support Commission, call 876-967-7977 or visit their offices at 37 Arnold Road, Kingston 6.
Informing.
Jamaica today confirmed its first imported case of coronavirus.
Educating.
If you follow the recommended procedures, it is highly likely that you will not get the disease.
Going beyond to keep you informed and connected.
Welcome to Get the Fact.
Even through the pandemic. Helping you stay safe while we protect ourselves. Dependable. Impactful. Accurate.
This is your JIS News.
Credible. Trustworthy. Every day, everywhere. Serving our customers proudly.
The impact of climate change is far-reaching. The summers are getting warmer and the winter months are becoming increasingly colder. It is with this in mind that the government of Jamaica is playing its part to manage the impacts of climate change. Through a collaboration with the United Nations Development Programme, preparatory activities are underway to enable Jamaica to ratify and implement the 2016 Kigali Amendment to the Montreal Protocol on substances that deplete the ozone layer. The Montreal Protocol fulfilled the objectives of the Vienna Convention for the protection of the ozone layer. It is a global environmental agreement originally signed in 1987 by countries across the world and ratified by Jamaica in 1993. This agreement seeks to phase out the use and production of ozone-depleting materials, such as chlorofluorocarbons, more commonly known as CFCs. CFCs were invented in the 1930s for use in the refrigeration sector and as propellants for aerosols. Increased consumption of refrigerants in motor vehicles, refrigerators and air conditioning units, as well as foam insulation, resulted in damage to the ozone layer, which is the protective shield that protects the Earth from the harmful rays of the sun. Damage to the ozone layer can cause devastating harm to human life, health and the environment. As time progressed, newer refrigerants such as hydrochlorofluorocarbons, more commonly known as HCFCs, were introduced as alternatives to CFCs. These substances were seen as less likely to damage the ozone layer. With the advent of the technological era, studies showed that HCFC is a powerful greenhouse gas that contributes to the depletion of the ozone layer. Even later still, it was determined that while HFCs were not considered to be ozone depleting, they too were powerful greenhouse gases that contributed to global warming, which intensifies climate change. With this new information, countries sought the best alternatives to ensure the protection of the ozone layer, being mindful of the effects of climate change. By 2007, countries around the world agreed to advance the phase-out of HCFCs by the year 2040. As work continued for a cleaner, healthier environment, the Kigali Amendment to the Montreal Protocol added HFCs to the list of controlled substances to be phased down. The amendment was agreed on in 2016 and became effective in January 2019. This amendment is seen as a significant tool in the fight against climate change. As of November 2019, 81 countries have ratified the amendment and have agreed to control the production and use of HFCs by phasing down its usage by 80% by the year 2045. Under this amendment, the use of modern, more environmentally friendly refrigerants like carbon dioxide, propane and ammonia are now being encouraged and will later be enforced. As part of its commitment to protecting the ozone layer and the environment, Jamaica is currently implementing the first stage of the HCFC Phase-Out Management Plan project. This project is being implemented by the UNDP through a partnership with the National Environment and Planning Agency NEPA with funding from the Montreal Protocol. Of the main achievements of the project, the three main results achieved so far includes the introduction of the 2014 Trade Order, which now restricts the importation of HCFCs based on a licensing and quota system. Phasing out of the use of HCFCs in the foam sector and a significant reduction in the use of HCFCs in the refrigeration and air conditioning sector, as well as strengthening the capacity of refrigeration and air conditioning technicians in best practices through capacity building sessions, as well as the provision of personal protective equipment kits. In order for the Kigali Amendment to take effect in Jamaica, it has to be ratified. Before this can happen, laws have to be reviewed and amended as necessary. Additionally, a licensing and quota system for the importation and consumption of HFCs, similar to that of HCFCs, has to be created. 4 steps are required in the ratification process. Currently, Jamaica is at step 1, and consultations are now being held to prepare a cabinet submission. Once approved, the country can move to the preparation and enactment of laws. This is followed by the preparation of another cabinet submission for ratification, and finally, depositing the instrument with the United Nations, after which Jamaica becomes bound by the treaty within 90 days. You may be wondering how this affects you. For persons in the refrigeration and air conditioning sector, get ready to make the unavoidable switch to more environmentally friendly refrigerants and reduce the use of substances that contain HCFCs and HFCs. This will lead to a safer and healthier environment for all. The general public and consumers also stand to benefit from cost savings. Newer appliances and vehicles coming into the country, some of which are already here, will be equipped to use these modern, more environmentally friendly refrigerants. The time is now to make the switch to protect the environment. So join us in helping to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Jamaica, on the road to ratification of the Kigali Amendment.
It has become almost impossible to neglect the presence of COVID-19. But this within itself has provided a great opportunity for bonding with parents and children. As you bond, something to consider doing together could be making homemade sanitizers. Let's help you get that done.
Hi there, thanks for joining us. I know, like myself, some of you are working from home. As you can see, I've turned my dinner table into a makeshift office, and I always have my trusty hand sanitizer with me. It's finished, so we're going to make homemade hand sanitizer. We have a 4-ingredient hand sanitizer. The most important ingredient is alcohol, and it has to be 62% volume or above, and aloe vera, and we have vitamin E oil and an essential oil, just to make it smell nice. So follow me into the kitchen. First things first is to turn our aloe vera leaf into aloe vera gel. It's not going to have the same consistency as the aloe vera gel that you'd buy in the store, but I trust this over store-bought because you don't know what they put in it. So first things first, wash it, and then we put it in our blender to smoothen it out. What we're aiming for is a 1/3 cup of aloe vera gel / juice and 2/3 cup of alcohol. We're doing it 2 to 1 because the most important ingredient is the alcohol. now that we've blended our aloe vera, we're going to put a 1/3 cup of the aloe. Wow, my measurement is on point, man. Whoa, just right. But as I said, the main and most important ingredient is this right here, the alcohol. We're going to use 2/3 cup of alcohol to a 1/3 cup of the aloe vera. I have here my measuring cup and I'm going to pour 2/3 of the rubbing alcohol into the cup. And I'm going to add 1/3 of the aloe vera gel. For some persons, this will do, but for me, I want to add some vitamin E oil, so as to give a little more softness for the hands. So I'm going to put 2 to 3 drops of it, so it's thick. As I said, this is optional, or you could use glycerin if you have it at home. Then the next one is the essential oil. I chose tangerine because I like that smell. And I'm going to add maybe 6 to 8 drops. And it's purely for cosmetic purposes. It doesn't add anything. As long as you have the rubbing alcohol, you should be good. Then I will just mix them together. In a clean container, after you mix the ingredients together, you pour. Now that we've made our homemade hand sanitizer, the only thing left to do is to try it out. Very moisturizing. Wow. It's very strong too. Smells a lot like the alcohol with a tinge of the tangerine. So you can try it out right there in the comfort of your home.
This Parent Month will likely look different from the one you witnessed last year, especially with many things now going virtual. But in all of that, we're urging you to make some time and bond with your children. Here are some habits that can strengthen your parent-child relationship. Number 1, play together. Play is so important to children's development. Along with being fun, it can help children's language skills, emotions, creativity, and social skills. Number 2, listen and empathize. Connection begins with listening. Try and see things from your child's perspective and foster respect. Number 3, be available. Make quality time to talk with your child without any distractions and establish good communication habits. Number 4, tell your children you love them. Your children may already know that you love them, but try telling them daily, no matter their age. A simple "I love you" can do a lot to strengthen a relationship. Remember, they are the future. Nurture them, care for them, because these are the ones that we're counting on to make our country the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. This is where our half hour ends, but JIS is always ready to deliver another Jamaica Magazine to you. So catch us again tomorrow, and while you wait, log on to our YouTube and visit the JIS channel. And do stop by our website, that's at www.jis.gov.jm, and follow us on our Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter pages. From all of us here, I'm Theodore Henry. See you real soon.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.